All right, friends, welcome back to another episode of Friends from Work Plus, another movie club episode of Friends from Work Plus. I am your host, Kyle Sconowell, and today I'm joined by a very special friend to me. You guys all know him as the Robby Earle, the man, the myth, the legend himself. He is here today joining me. We thought that jointly we could do a fun little mini movie club before Werewolf by Night releases next week. And here's why, okay? This is kind of an abnormal thing. Michael Giacchino, composer. The composer that we all know and love is actually directing Werewolf by Night. And so that led Robby to be like, hey, has he directed anything else? And we found a 13-minute short that's available on YouTube that he directed. So Robby, without further ado, let's get into this edition of the Friends from Work Movie Club. Monster Challenge was released in 2018. It's written, directed, and music by Michael Giacchino. It stars Patton Oswalt, Ben Schwartz, Amy Brenneman, Samiko Braun, Olivia Oliden, Benedict Wong, and a few others. Like I said, it's only 13 minutes, and my big takeaway, Robby, is can you or did you learn anything about Michael Giacchino's directorial style watching this? What can we learn from it?
I feel like we actually learned more than I expected. Now, you know, obviously this isn't a horror project at all, and I say that I don't even know that Werewolf by Night is. But, you know, we've heard about and seen through the trailer the kind of campiness that's being embraced there. And we definitely got that here. You know, the way that he's clearly trying to evoke a certain style of these like Japanese game shows that you always hear about, and mixed with the kind of Godzilla stuff, which I thought was legitimately funny. But also like the way that it's executed, all the animations across, and I mean, I'm so curious where the idea for this came from, and how much of it was just straight out of Giacchino's brain, because it seems like a lot of it. I mean, he wrote and directed it, and even the music feels like a really important piece based on the way. I mean, like that and the sound that goes into the actual monster fight is what makes it all, because of the way that it adds this like faux gravitas to the whole thing. So I feel like to answer the question of what we can learn about Giacchino as a director, I think it's clear that he is going to want to have fun with something, especially where he feels like he can get a little bit wacky, and I think that makes the bits we've seen of Werewolf by Night so far make a lot more sense.
The music.
What did you think?
Well, the music definitely felt like him.
Right.
Like that moment where he looks in the crowd and sees this girl who reminds him of his daughter, but then he stands up and there's like this epic score playing. I'm like, Giacchino, he got that moment to have that triumphant moment there.
Which was I was like, okay, I'm actually rooting for Patton Oswalt in a very serious way. You're right. That was like an inspirational cue.
How did you hear about this?
So one of the things that I've loved being in Austin is getting to know one of our really good friends, as I think I've said before, works at Mondo and has for a while. And, you know, Mondo has a really great working relationship with Michael Giacchino. They put out a book a few years ago that Candace got me for my birthday. That's like all the vinyl album covers that they've had commissioned. And Giacchino actually wrote sorry, this is the only danger of doing this live, is people are going to hear my
Sam like
dog get angry. He's been on Squirrel Patrol hard lately, man. But yeah, Giacchino wrote the foreword to that, and so I've gotten to know a little bit about him through friends as we've kind of talked, and let them know I'm a big fan. And they flagged this for me a while back whenever I was first like, well, that's crazy that Giacchino's directing this Werewolf by Night thing. Has he ever directed anything? And so I've been meaning to check it out, and then this gave us the perfect opportunity to do so. But
My
and
takeaway,
it's free on YouTube, which is fun.
Yeah, true. My takeaway was a little more practical. First of all, I thought to myself, he's clearly connected enough to do this on the marketing side because this is a 13-minute short. Like, where does he get the budget for that? And he got Patton Oswalt to do it, Ben Schwartz, Benedict Wong. Those are not nobodies for a 13-minute short.
Dermot Mulroney,
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. Secondly, I thought, okay, he has an eye for this. Like, there's a shot when Patton Oswalt is first walking in, and like the cheerleaders of sorts are lined up, and there's kind of like cool lighting spotlighting him, and we're getting a silhouette of it. And I'm like, man, for a 13-minute short about monsters, he has an eye for kind of how to frame the camera and how that can work. So that's another encouraging thing for me. And then, like you said, he does know how to embrace the camp. You watching this, you're like, okay, Werewolf by Night is a great first entry for him because we don't get a wide variety of like all the emotions shown here that he can cover or not, but we do get that fun campy thing, and he does do that well. So yeah, those are the three things I kind of he's connected, he has an eye for it, and this might be the best genre for him to get started in.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the connected thing because to me, I thought that was so. I wonder if he knew Benedict Wong before Doctor Strange, or was that their initial connection, or have they worked together before? But I talk about kind of mutual friends. Like I've heard that Michael is one of these guys that is a great hang, and I like the idea of him just building relationships based on these different projects he's worked on, and people just wanting to help out and jump on board. Because I have to imagine that's what
has to be a part
there.
of it. Yeah, he's not paying them a ton, right? So he just had to convince them to do it.
Yeah,
there's a couple genuinely funny moments too.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and talking about I had made a point to not read anything about this other than just the little synopsis, so I didn't even know if Monster Challenge was a reference to any kind of actual monster, or if it was just like an adjective as like a big crazy thing, like a big crazy challenge, or like an actual we're dealing with monster things. But I know that Werewolf by Night is in part supposed to be a love letter to this Universal monster movie era, and I love that we kind of get that here with the Godzilla thing. Like it's this very kind of classic, old school Godzilla vibe that he's exploring. So you can also get a sense of the kind of movies that he maybe grew up on and is and is homaging, and I think we will get part of that too.
Last question for you before the questions. Anything else you want to say about Werewolf by Night before it comes out next week? Is there anything else that you're expecting now from this, or stuff you've heard? Kind of transitioning to that. Any other ideas? I think it's going to be campy. I think it's going to be violent, more violent than we thought, or at least gory. Yeah.
I do think that it's going to be a love letter to an intentional era of scary movies.
Right.
And I like that. We talked a little bit on a previous episode about how it would fit in to the rest of the MCU. I do think that it's going to be canon, to kind of go on the record. Like, I think it will take place within the MCU, or at least within the multiverse within the MCU. But I think that one thing that I don't think we've really gotten into, and this may be one of our last chances to do that, is some folks on our Slack pointed out that some of the people that we see briefly in the trailer look like they could be TVA agents. Did you see this whole conversation?
I did. Yep. I didn't catch it in the trailer, but then I saw that. Yes,
same. And then once I saw it, like I kind of see it. It does look. You can see because they're holding things that look sort of like the pruning devices.
I clearly think it is going to be connected. I don't think they're at this point going to trot out something that's entirely disconnected. Now, how that's going to work, it's weird because tonally it's so different. But I think before I see it, and again, I haven't seen it, so who knows? I could change my opinion on this in a week. I think we're getting the screeners here in a few days or so. Mm-hmm. But I just love the drastic genre shifts and the swings that they're taking. And we talk about it all the time. But the faster way for me to burn out of comic book films and the MCU would be to just repeat the same film 7 times a year with 3 shows and 4 movies or whatever. Right. So if you're going to have all this content, I love that it's so different. And man, this looks different. It looks so much different. And then watching Monster Challenge, I'm like, okay, he's going to go all out on this vibe, and it's just so different. And I like that. You can't ever fault them for trying new things. Like we say this all the time on the podcast. I'd rather them try it and it be a horrible miss, and then we go, well, at least they tried. Yeah.
Well, and you know, one thing that I'm really excited about with this project is something you already kind of touched on with Monster Challenge, which is you do get that one moment of, amidst all the camp and ridiculousness, and everyone's playing their part in a very over the top way, right? I mean, like Ben Schwartz especially, and Dermot Mulroney as his lawyer keeps calling him Paxton Oswalt. The whole thing is just ridiculous. But then it almost reminds me of Taika a little bit, and it does, yeah. You know, we talked about Taika and Giacchino working together on Jojo Rabbit, which I have to think is the thing that spurred them coming back to work together on Love and Thunder. That ability to hear in this totally ridiculous moment suddenly shift tones to an actual kind of moving piece. Like, you know, again, it's all still within the realm of we're joking around, it's a 13-minute thing, but because of Giacchino's ability to create those moments, which we've always said is really his strength as a composer, I'm really excited to see what that looks like, you know, in a longer project, whether you would call that fuller length, like, because we have seen so much of this is going to be kind of wacky and crazy, but I wonder if he'll have similar opportunities to quiet things down and make a more serious, moving moment out of it, or if that's even the intention with something like this. How do your instincts as a composer,
that's what I was thinking about,
inform your directorial choices? And that's such a unique.
Well, he knows the other side of it always. You know, like he's always getting told, hey, craft this piece to feel like this. And he's thinking about like, okay, like if they're going to do this on screen, I got to do this musically. And you're always thinking about what they're doing on screen. So, yeah, it'll be fascinating. I don't know that we've seen that very often where people flip. I mean, I don't know that I've seen Hans Zimmer directing a bunch of films. And so... Yeah.
You know, Elfman's done some of that, I guess. Yeah. Just because of, like, The Nightmare Before Christmas. But one thing I would really encourage people to go check out, if they haven't already, before Werewolf by Night comes out, is Mondo actually released this live recording from Dublin of Giacchino and a symphony playing through all the Lost music, or, you know, selections from Lost. And one of the things, I listen to it all the time, and the music, like we've talked about, from Lost is some of my favorite Giacchino stuff still. So the music's just incredible, and the players there are incredible. But they also bring some of the writers on to kind of discuss what Giacchino's role was within that show and how key he was to the whole process. And that's fascinating. One, just kind of hearing the behind the scenes of working on a show like that had so many episodes, that had so much scrutiny on it, and so much excitement around it. But also, they talk about how there were moments where, like if they had a scene that didn't have dialogue, there would be a spot in the script where it just said, and now Giacchino does the heavy lifting. and it would just be, he would write a piece of music and then they would kind of match the shots to
like a
the
montage
vibe he's
almost.
creating. Yeah, so you can kind of see how that starts to give him more of creative input than I think the average composer would have. Not saying that, every composer I think speaks to that in a lot of ways, but the creators that they bring on to talk about this, and that's why I'm recommending it, talk about specifically the amount of storytelling that Michael was adding. And I think it's fascinating to then look at that and wonder, is that always the case? Like how much is he engaging with different filmmakers he's worked with? Like, does he have a certain kind of relationship with Taika where he speaks more into it? Or are there filmmakers that he does that really well with? And what is it about Giacchino that, spurred this decision? Like, did he reach out to Marvel? Did Marvel reach out to him after having scored however many films now? So I would go listen to that if you haven't, because it's a fun peek into his process. I
love that. Well, this is still a movie club. This is still a movie club episode. Okay, it might be a mini movie club episode, but you can't have a movie club without answering the questions that I always put people through. So we'll go through these quickly together. Who won this film? And this is going to be funny in context of it being 13 minutes, relative to Arrival or Parasite. But who won this film? And you can start.
I mean, I think Patton's the winner here. He has
making that money.
It cracked me up because my assumption was that if he won, he would get the $1 million.
Yeah,
instead of
he just transferred over to nothing, right?
But it was just, I love that Ben didn't get it, and they light up his 500 like it's just as impressive.
Yes, yeah. I think in ways you could say Ben as an actor won because he's all in. He's so over the top on this. And I didn't ever watch Parks and Rec, which is kind of a bummer. And I know he's from that. But one thing about Ben that was kind of funny is he put out on Netflix, I think it was, a quick special doing improv with another comedian. And I'm blanking now.
Oh.
Schwartz and...
It wasn't Nathan
help me, audience.
Fielder, was it?
No. It's Schwartz and something is like the name of it.
I know what you're talking about.
But
that's going to
we watched the first episode of it, and I thought it was really funny, actually. So, shout out Ben. Thought he was all in here. And
he is great
check
on Parks
out that.
Rec, by the way.
Say it again?
He is great on Parks and Rec, by the way. He's one of my favorite parts of that show.
Yeah. So, check out his comedy special, too. Robbie's looking up the name of it right now.
Yeah, it's driving me crazy.
What is it? Schwartz
Middleditch and Schwartz. Yeah. Richard Middleditch from Silicon Valley, which I don't know if you've ever
funny.
seen that, but
and they just do improv with a live audience, and it's pretty cool. So, anyways,
Thomas Middleditch, not Richard Middleditch. What's wrong with me?
Richard.
Richard
Dick
is his
Middleditch?
name in Silicon Valley. That's why I get that. I was like, where did I get that from? Is it just itch sounds?
Who is the loser of this film? Who lost?
And to clarify,
it could be whatever you want. It could be whatever you want.
What's
It could
that?
be the actor. It could be the character. It could be whatever you want.
I think the character would be the lawyer that lost in just a really fun way.
True. Wong might be a little bit of a loser that he's still doing it after all that for whatever 326 whatever the translation was. That was funny, I thought.
That was funny.
The dollar's still down or whatever he said.
He was his little moment was great, by the way. Like I forgot at the end that I had seen his name attached to it.
How weird is it to hear his accent?
It's so
weird.
So
strange for me.
Especially after, because we've just gotten so much Wong time. And I've seen him in other projects, but it's been so long since I've seen him use any accent that isn't the Wong accent.
Mm-hmm. Most memorable scene? You only have like 6 to choose from?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think
Patton
probably
Oswalt.
the one we talked about. Probably the her holding up the sign moment, I think, was the one that stuck with me.
Yeah, and then Patton Oswalt seeing his daughter and like getting up to fight again. By the way, they're tranking them with darts. I mean, it's really intense. Best acting award? I mean, Ben's over the top. He's doing his character. Patton doesn't act a ton. By the way, I laughed a lot at his wife being like, "Love you, honey," and then she whispers to the camera, "I'll F or don't F this up," is what she says to the camera. He's like, "Whoa."
Remember her tuition? He's like, "I know, intuition. That's what made me take this job."
No, her tuition.
I'll
give it to Patton.
I think I'll probably give it to Ben in part, not even because of the final scene, but the way that he does the the studio head gave me this gift was just a really funny bit. The
lawyer,
the studio head there,
the lawyer does a good job too. When he's like, we should just, and like doesn't actually want to say anything to him. We'll get to
Oh yeah, no, I saw you on IMDb.
Yeah, on IMDb. Is it rewatchable? I don't need to see it again. But it is probably, I mean, it's short.
Yeah, I think I'd probably show it to folks. I don't know that, like, I wouldn't go watch it again myself, but like I'm interested to show it to Candace, who was asleep whenever I was watching last night.
And lastly, any bones to pick with this film? It's hard to answer these questions when it's so short.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like, I just had so much. I had no idea what to expect. Knew how short it was, and I think it was kind of perfect for what it was. Yeah,
agreed. The moment you highlighted earlier with the money counting down, and then it just went ding 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 ding, $500 is legitimately a genius moment. Here's the dumbest bone to pick ever, and this is why it's a category. I thought the editing of the internet that's sucking, like mine is right now, wasn't great. Like, that was an old effect of the digital. They could have updated, like modernized how internet suffers in Zoom calls. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'll go there.
It's a bone to pick, okay? We got to go there.
Fair.
Well, there you go. So, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm hoping that it does inform a little bit of our Werewolf by Night experience. Like we said, you can check out Monster Challenge, written, directed, and music by Michael Giacchino on YouTube for free anytime you want. And let us know what you thought, who won, who lost, most memorable scene, acting, etc. And then, let's get ramped up for Werewolf by Night next week. And hopefully you feel a little more prepared now. Thank you, Robby, for joining a mini movie club episode with me.
This is fun.
Yeah. We'll have to do it again with a movie of your choice.
Wow. I know. I like, that's part of the delay with me coming on is there are just so many that I have thought about, and I want the like formal full movie debut to like really be special. I got some plans.
No doubt. All right, last thing. Have fun this week, everyone. Have fun with Werewolf by Night, She-Hulk Episode 8, which should be huge, these bonus Friends from Work Plus episodes, and for those attending, like Robby, Comic-Con this weekend.
Yes.
So enjoy all of that stuff. Hope everyone has a blast. And I know Robby's still maybe looking into a few options for getting together with some of our listeners. So stay tuned for that. Lots coming up this week. Thanks for joining us. We love you. We'll see you next time on Friends from Work Plus.